and the terrible things about politics is we get to do this all over again. And next time is not the same as last time. Every race is different. I believe 2010 is a totally different year than 2009. For one thing, we see some of the things that can happen. And there are folks out there that were thinking, it doesn't really matter, that now think it matters. For another thing, there was a whole effort to be able to turn out folks for a presidential race that isn't going to be there. With next time it'll be Senator Grassley at the top of the ticket, and probably somewhere between 60 and 75% of the people are going to vote for a Republican to start with. It makes it a lot easier to vote down the ticket as well for Republican. There were a lot last time of straight party voters on the Democratic side that took out even supervisor races and others. So this is going to be a different time. There can be different things happen, but it doesn't just happen by us hoping it. We've got to get out and make things happen.
You're going to just hope for change?
Do you have something, Rick?
I don't know if we get started on this or not. It looks to me like there's a giant force to put the United States down. I mean, the whole world wants us to go down, and we are helping them. If we don't stop these regulations, right now all we have is agriculture that can export anything. Nobody else can face the labor deals and all of the other problems. If we let them keep putting regulations on agriculture, it's going to be a complete downhill slide until we lose our country. We have to go over and beg China to buy our bonds, and they laugh at us, and these American people can't see what's going on. Are we all brain dead?
Just the Democrats.
Whenever you give a telephone to a person that's never had a telephone, this is just little things, but it's buying votes. Give them 34 minutes a month. Give them a card. The most expensive telephone on the market. Obama gives everyone that didn't have a telephone, they give them a telephone so they can call 911 if they have an emergency. Well, they're going to be out of minutes when they have an emergency. But they still get that card every month, and it's buying votes. Just them little things are buying votes, and I think it's going to wake up a lot more of them people. They call them poor people. They are not poor people. They've had the same opportunities we have. They are lazy people. Them people are voting and they get a free telephone. There's going to be a lot more of them vote for him next election. And I hope you guys are right that we can overcome that, but I don't think we can.
I'd like to tell you a kind of story that goes along with that, what he just said. My daughter's mother-in-law just retired from teaching, and we were talking the other day, and they were over, and we had a couple drinks there, and she said, this family, neither one of the parents work. They could. They have a potload of kids, and they got a potload of dogs in the house. And the little boy, who was in her class, was 3rd or 4th grade, said, yeah. She said, well, what's the dog's names? And the little boy was saying, he said, we got one that's called food stamps, also. Yeah. So they know what food stamps are. But neither one of the parents work, but we still support them, along with a potload of dogs.
I mean, it's money.
I was going to say that, I guess maybe I'm more of an optimist. I think we can make a difference. I think the key is what Steve talks about, look races. Next time, these 3 elected officials may not have a tough race. If they do, get in, and for goodness sake, don't lose the good folks we have. But if they don't, you can still go somewhere else and volunteer time. You can still write these guys a check, and I guarantee you, if they don't need it, they want to be in the majority. They'll get it to somebody who is in a tough race and will hopefully put them over the top. The control of the House swung on less than a couple thousand votes in a handful of districts with Barack Obama at the top of the ticket. I think one of the things that we penalize ourselves with is we think in terms of counties too often. This is a pretty decent county. You probably control, you got a good state house delegation. You probably have all or most of the state house elected folks, we're going to carry the county. I don't need to write that extra check. I don't need to donate that extra hour. But when it comes to electing or re-electing Bill Northey, or electing a Republican governor, or maybe electing a Republican treasurer who won't lose $300 million of our state's assets to scam artists, or an attorney general that will enforce the laws instead of suing businesses all the time. When it comes to these things, they don't count up who won how many counties. They count up votes. So between now and November of 2010, can you find 50 new votes, maybe out of no party registered people who think traditional marriage matters, who think that borrowing money today so you can spend double to get single is stupid? Can you go find 50 additional votes in this county? Because if we do that proportionally in every county across the state, we will win all of those offices. We will take back the state house. So I think it's up to us. If you talked to me earlier, I had my work hat on, but it's after 6 o'clock, so I switched to my private hat here. But I absolutely think it's within our ability to reach out and find those no-party voters, or those Republicans that said, we're going to be fine here in Monona County anyway, and turn them out. Because that is literally, the margin is that thin. So I'll try to be the optimist here, but tell you what, if we don't, there is no more of this, there's no difference between the parties. How many of you have talked to all the Republicans, and some with very good reasons, who said, there's no difference between the parties? Republicans went to D.C. and spent like drunken sailors. Well, we've learned that a drunken Republican sailor doesn't hold a candle to a drunken Democrat socialist. So there is a difference between the parties. You can show that, and a tape's not on, is it? And I feel like I'm a Supreme Court now. This is recorded. I wasn't supposed to admit that. This is
never will be now.
I guess I don't have to go to law school now. But we can show that there's a difference between the parties, and I think we can find those votes if we make an effort to do it. It's 50 votes for a county like this, replicated across the state, and we would sweep the ballot.
I think you've certainly laid out the challenge that's out there. This is not a piece of cake. It does not happen without a huge amount of effort, and certainly there's a lot of dynamics that changed in the last couple of years here. But I still believe that you go and talk to a lot of folks, and I think the majority of folks in the state of Iowa, they're conservative folks. They think you ought to pay your bills. You shouldn't borrow state money for the next 20 years. We just had a new granddaughter that was born on Sunday, and it's our first grandchild. She'll be 20 years old, 25 years old, before we pay this $830 million off. 25 years old. I mean, she's, 7 pounds, and I can imagine being 25 years before we pay that off. And I believe most Iowans don't think that's a good thing. In fact, you look at numbers and polling that's done, and they don't think it's a good thing. We have to make sure that people realize what's at stake in all this, and I think they will turn out. I think there'll be a counterbalance to what we have seen, but we've got to be able to make it happen. And it's here, and it's all the people that you know that are on your email list or your family get together, other kinds of ways to be able to make that happen. You all know. But we just have to do it. One last question.
I don't think this ever gets paid off in 25 years, or know how many you say, because it's going to happen 2 or 3 times more in the next 25 years. It's going to be 150 years before it gets paid off, and then it's going to happen a bunch more times. It's just a snowball roll.
Well, we're just talking about state money that where we have to quote unquote balance the budget. We're not talking about $3 trillion worth of federal money that we all know is going to get printed. But it's worse if nothing changes. It's worse if the same folks are making it.
I understand your point.
Again, thank you all for being here tonight. You got a beautiful night. It's always this nice, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's always this
And
nice.
as soon as we get to our cars, it starts raining.
Thank you all.